Alright, so I recently did a poll on what kind of content that you guys wanted to see more, and while 40% or so of you guys still wanted me to stay on brand on crypto, there was about 20% of you guys that wanted to learn more about investing, saving, and just generally finding work in the layoff era that we are in right now. Though there were also 20% of you who literally just wanted to troll the Asian guy. I don't know how I feel about that, but if I were you, I would probably do the same thing. So today is not going to be a crypto talk. I'm actually going to tell you a story of what happened recently when I found out that really my financial advisor was scamming me, and I want you at the end of this video to check whether yours is scamming you too, and I'll explain in this story how he went about it. That being said, most of you guys will probably not see it as a scam, but how I saw it, it was something that I didn't know about, that when I found out I was like, what the heck. So without further ado, let's go ahead and smash that like and subscribe button like we always do for the YouTube algorithm, and I'll see you inside. Alright, so to figure out what happened, basically we have to go back to really where I came from. So I came from a low income class family. My parents were immigrants, and I was born as a first-generation Canadian, Asian Canadian in Canada. So as you might expect, growing up, we didn't know how money worked, and we were always living below our means, saving coupons and finding discounts and wearing hand-me-downs. And I would say that by chance, I grew up very ambitious, which is why I also find myself making YouTube videos, and I was really the first one in my family to go to university. And in university, I took up business. But aside from that, other clubs that I joined were, for example, the Finance Club, where I met my future and now ex-financial advisor. So he was there doing a presentation on how money worked and really teaching the people at the club how to get ahead with their finances, like whether to invest in stocks, funds, and things like that. And the great thing about them was that he actually had an office, and he volunteered me his time in order to teach me more about investing and how that works. So I learned something like segregated funds, which is only available in Canada. If you've heard about them, they're great because you can't lose your principal when you use a segregated funds, but you participate in the upside. And he taught me how to use borrow to invest, which is you borrow money from the bank, pay an interest rate, but use what you borrow to invest in things like mutual funds, ETFs, and stocks. And knowing that the S&P 500 returned something around like 5 to 8%, and interest rates back then was somewhere around 2 to 3%, you're really just making a spread between the interest rate that you're paying and the interest rate that you're getting back, which is, that 5 to 8% that you're getting back from the market. So just to tell you, that strategy is no longer profitable because of the rise in interest rates. So after this whole entire ordeal, I really highlighted 4 red flags for a financial advisor, which if you can see these red flags, you really have to decide whether to continue with them or leave them. Red flag number 1 is when your financial advisor does not take the time to call you or email you on a frequent enough basis to keep you up to date with what's going on with the economy and your portfolio. So that's one thing that my advisor did not do. He did it with me in the beginning when I started with them, but I guess he felt that as I got more experience and knew what I was talking about, I can manage my own portfolio. But at the end of the day, you're my financial advisor, right? You're supposed to be on top of this stuff. He wasn't. So that's red flag number 1. Red flag number 2 is when your financial advisor does not keep track of the interest rates for you. I know that we all should be responsible for ourselves, for our own finances, but you're hiring a guy, you're paying him a fee. He should be able to tell you, email you, take the time to call and email you of when a time where interest rates are rising and tell you that this is going to affect your portfolio adversely. I never got that call. I actually have to look at the interest rate, look at the documents myself, and actually call them myself to tell them, hey man, what's going on with my portfolio? So that's red flag number 2. Red flag number 3 is when they take a management fee for themselves, but they don't actually do any management. So like I said, my advisor was completely hands off with me. I actually have to reach out to him to actually get a status on my portfolio. When I'm supposed to get a status on my portfolio, I prefer monthly. I know he has a lot of clients, but I am a long-standing client. I've been with him for a while, and I expect a little bit better from his actions. And that to me just felt like, I wasn't valued as a client. So like I said, I'm Canadian, I have a TFSA account, and you could see that there was a lot of fees that were paid. Now, CI Direct Investing was the platform that I used for my TFSA. With TFSAs, it's different from 401ks in the United States because you can withdraw them. So I withdrew everything after I learned of this. So CI Direct Investing takes about a 0.6% fee. Planning fee is what my advisor was taking. That was a 1% fee. You could see see that he was taking a lot of planning fees, and this happened every single month. And this is just 2022. He was doing this from 2021, 2020, and 2019. So you might be thinking, oh, okay, Donald, he's just taking a 1% return. That's not a big deal, is it? 1% is a lot. Let's think about this. The S&P 500 returns around like 5 to 8 or 5 to 7% per year. 1% of that is a lot of money. If it's like 1% of $1 million, that's $100,000. So I remember like 3 or 4 years ago, he told me to switch to CI direct investing, and I was wondering, why do you want me to do this, right? And I never really asked the question why. He just gave me an answer like, oh, because they manage your assets better, and I just went along with it. I didn't see that he was taking a 1% fee until this year, until this January 2023, and I was like, I don't believe that he was doing this all this time. So for me, that is red flag number 3. So red flag number 4 kind of flows into red flag number 3 because, like I said, if your financial advisor isn't teaching you anything about finances, about the world economy, about how interest rate affects your portfolio, about the macros, then what is he really there for? If they're not giving you financial advice anymore, if they're not teaching you anything, then why do you need them? And that's exactly what was happening with me and this financial advisor. So in that case, it's better to just fire them. By the way, guys, in this day and age, you can get all the financial advice, all the learnings about the macros, interest rates, everything that you really know on YouTube. I mean, this entire channel is doing that. So if you haven't already, please go smash that subscribe button because you're gonna get that info. Even though I always have to put the disclaimer that I am not a financial advisor, I'm just some guy on the internet. So please do your own research as well. So here's the takeaway from this video, right? What do you have to do right now? First, you actually have to take a look through your documents. Like I took a look through my documents when the interest rates rose, and I actually saw that my financial advisor was taking a huge management fee. Is your financial advisor taking a huge management fee? And if so, how much? Number 2, you gotta ask yourself the question, does your advisor keep touch with you on a frequent basis? Answer the questions from the last section. Are there any red flags? Do you feel valued as a client? That's very important. And the last point is most important. Do you think they're taking too much money for the amount of work they're doing? Because let me remind you, my manager, my advisor was taking 1% for doing nothing. Even 0.5% is way too much for me. Don't talk about 1%. If you think you are paying them too much for work they aren't doing, fire them. So my overall opinion on this thing is I am not mad or anything because he was the start to a journey of learning about finances. Although right now I'd say that I probably know a little bit more than he does. That's not to say anything about his character. He is very polite and cordial, and I do recognize that he has a lot of clients that maybe needs a lot more hand-holding than I do myself. With me running a crypto channel and me being on crypto Twitter to report the news to you guys, I learned quite a lot about macroeconomics, interest rates, and how one thing affects the other, and you are learning that too because you actually care about your finances and you're watching this video right now. But I think we all get to one point where we're taking a look at our documents, our portfolio, and we're asking our advisors for advice and they're just giving a second opinion. I think at that point you can fairly say that you can go it alone now and you don't need a financial advisor. You know what you're doing. And on top of that, if your financial advisor is not looking into crypto, you got to get rid of them because crypto is the future. We are a crypto channel after all. So like almost all other finance YouTubers say on YouTube, I think that index funds are the way to go. A good Dow Jones Industrial Average Index Fund or S&P 500 Index Fund is the way to invest. We call it invest, but I really see it as wealth preservation because you're not going to get rich by doing it, but what you are going to do is you're going to preserve your wealth. The S&P 500 since its inception returns something around like 11.82%. That is not accounting for inflation and not accounting for taxes. So at the end of the day, like other YouTubers say, we're looking at around like a 5 to 7, 5 to 8% from the S&P 500. So if your advisor takes a 1% management fee for doing that, that's a huge hit. When we're talking about management fees, I think 0.2% is the highest I will ever go. And by paying that fee, that financial advisor will have to go above and beyond. That means that they have to pass all 4 red flag tests for me. So most managers won't be out there to preserve your wealth or to make you rich. They're in this to make themselves rich. Let's take, for example, my manager who took a 1% management fee from me. Let's imagine that he had assets under management of $100 million. That means that each year's 1%, that's $1 million that he's taking home in management fees. So they're really not in it to help you, but they're really in it to help themselves. So the final takeaway really is that you don't really need a financial advisor in order to preserve your wealth. You can do it yourself just by simply going out there and purchasing a S&P 500 index fund or a DJIA, Dow Jones Industrial Average Index fund. It's not going to make you rich, but it is going to preserve your wealth, which is what you want to do. Other than that, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. It's a step away from our usual crypto content, but I think I wanted to go ahead and tell you guys this story because I still do have a lot of traditional investments and I wanted to open the doors of that part of my life. So I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please show your love by smashing that like and subscribe button, checking out other videos on cryptocurrencies and passive income, and remember guys, continue working, continue building, continue inspiring. I'll see you next time.